I cleaned them and packed 20 of them, and I left 10 on the table, you know, because I be trying to help her get her 20. She ran 6 caps today, y'all, and we got an extra hour. You know what I'm saying? We going in at 6 to 3:30, but she is struggling. She want to do the job. So everybody, please pray that God give her the skill and the mobility, I guess, whatever, the mind and the hand, so it'll work together. Because it's really hard for her. And I can't, I'm serious. I be trying to understand. The man, the boss came out the other day. He said, y'all think y'all can get this other box of 20? So I'm looking at her, because she didn't have a 6 on her table. And she was trying to prep for tomorrow instead of completing. But that's what I do. I prep my stuff. Y'all, I don't want to take up too much time. But I think she was trying to do what I do, but she needs to learn how to do it, you know, how to do it. And I had 10 on the table. She had 6 on her. And the man said, y'all think? And she didn't say nothing. So I ran 4 more caps right quick, but I was prepping my stuff. And she still didn't pack them. So y'all pray for her, God. Please pray. I pray for her. And please, y'all, I'm serious. Pray that the Lord, I don't care if she does more than me, just pray that the Lord give her the skills to do that work and do it good and complete what they're asking her. Pray for her. And thank you. I know I took it.
You're all right. I'm glad you said that, because you said something that's going to be in my lesson. All right. If Chief came and got the kids yet too. I saw Drill come to the door, but she was picking for him Well, today we're gonna talk about. That's why I'm glad you said what you said. The topic that the Lord gave me today is stop aborting the mission because you get distracted. Stop aborting the mission because you get distracted. we got a couple of scriptures, and I'm gonna be honest with you. God gave me this morning this evening. I didn't really have anything, and I said, well, God, I gotta teach because I want to teach because I want to give the church something. I want to give them something that they can grow on. And if you hadn't heard, it's on basically the lesson that he gave me. When I opened Facebook, if y'all haven't heard, my cousin James is now a Marine. So his mom posted on Facebook that she received a call that he was getting ready to pass and getting ready to graduate. So we wanna thank God for that. So God started dealing with me. Even through that, He started dealing with me with the church in that present time. So I just started typing, and then me and my brother got together and we started talking. And then I started typing even more. And I was like, God, you're taking me too fast. I can't type that quick. And I was just typing, and then me and him got together and we started talking about stuff. And then I started typing what me and him were talking about. And then I was like, hold on, you're going too fast. I can't type that much. So we're gonna start at Psalm 63. And like I said, we're gonna have a bunch of scriptures, but I pray that it helps somebody. In Psalm 63, we're gonna start at verse 1. And this was David when he was in the wilderness of Judah. He wrote this. It says, O God, thou art my God. Early will I seek thee. My soul thirsteth for thee. My flesh longeth for thee in a dry and thirsty land where no water is. To see thy power and thy glory, so as I have seen thee in the sanctuary. Because thy loving kindness is better than life. My lips shall praise thee. Thus will I bless thee while I live. I will lift up my hand in thy name. My lips shall praise thee. Thus will I bless thee while I live. I will lift up my hand in thy name. My soul shall be satisfied as with marrow and fatness, and my mouth shall praise thee with joyful lips. When I remember thee upon my bed and meditate on thee in the night watches, because thou hast been my help. Therefore in the shadow of thy wings will I rejoice. My soul followeth hard after thee, thy right hand upholdeth me. But those that seek my soul to destroy it shall go into the lower parts of the earth. They shall fall by the sword, they shall be a portion for foxes. But the king shall rejoice in God. Everyone that swears by him shall glory. But the mouth of them that speak lies shall be stopped.
Woo! My Lord.
Have mercy.
That's awesome.
And like I said, God was speaking to me about the church, but He used the military and law enforcement as an example. I was talking to him, I was like, God, when as the church, we have a lot of people that have a lot of ministries and a lot of ideas that they bring up, but they don't fulfill them. When God gives you something and you take it, He ain't meaning for you to. And the lesson I'm telling y'all, me and Pastor hadn't spoke about this, so I don't want nobody to think that I'm telling you this is honestly, God gave me this today. But when you start something in the church, the problem is we get distracted, like Pastor was talking about. We look at, well, such and such been doing this for Whereas, well, Pastor has been doing this for so long, I want my stuff to be like hers. But we don't realize is you got to start somewhere. You can't, you ain't gonna just get elevated into a position. Just trying, okay, what, like, and I'm gonna get into my lesson, but when Pastor told a testimony, and I didn't know why I was doing testimony service, God just said do testimony service first. But when Pastor told a testimony, it hit me. We get distracted too quick. We look at what everybody else is building or what everybody else had built up already, and we don't realize it took time to get where they are. They went through something to get where, I mean, they went through something. And the second we see, well, I always wanted to do this, so I'm gonna start and I see it a lot. We was talking about we was coming down McCullough, and I was looking at all the churches that was down, coming on the way to church. I said, God, I want to know how many of these churches were started because somebody, when they saw that somebody else was building the church, I want to build a church. Nobody wants to sit under leadership. And you have to, like I said, you have to be taught. Something we have to be taught about a lot. But I'm going somewhere else with that. But like I said, God was speaking to me on how military, when they go into training, the first thing that the person that usually either your drill sergeant or a speaker that comes to the class, the first thing they tell you, I knew in the High Patrol, when I was in the High Patrol class, that's what they told us. The first thing they tell you is the only way you're going to complete this training is the people beside you. And a lot of people, they get distracted. They get caught up dependent on the person beside them too much. And they get distracted, they slack. And another thing that they'll tell you, the reason why they tell you depend on the people that your neighbors that's beside you is because nobody else will understand what you're going through at that point in time. In those trainings, nobody else understands what you're going through because nobody else is there. They don't understand the pain that you have to go through, the pressure that it is, the mindset of, I don't even have to do this. I can just be at home, sitting at home looking at the couch all day. I don't have to do this, or I can go get a job, making this much money. All I gotta do is go to school and get a degree. So when you're going through those trainings, you have to have, basically, you gotta watch what friend group you have around you. Because your peers can hinder you a lot when it comes to growth in ministry and things like that. Like I said, I mentioned our very own. I mentioned James graduating from the Marines. I'm pretty sure when he was there were times that he questioned just him being there. Because even if you go back, there's a lot of people that tell you there was plenty of times that I questioned why was I doing this? Why am I even putting my body through this? I don't have to do this. But they finished. The problem with some of us is we get started, but when we get those mindsets of why am I doing this? Why should I be on time? Why should I show up to practice? We get sidetracked. We get sidetracked and we fall off. So that's I wrote. That's one thing that I looked at. I was like, God, when we as the church, if we would see ourselves, we say we're in the army, right? You say, I'm in the army of the Lord. I saw a lot of people, and I found it funny, a lot of people were putting on Veterans Day, a lot of people was posting the old mothers of the church as the veterans. They saying they was in the army of the Lord, so they was veterans. But I was like, God, they went through stuff.
Yeah.
It was people that told them, the church, y'all not supposed to be doing this. I know a lot of women preachers have went through stuff. Cause you have some men, and I'm not afraid to say it, you have some men that actually believe that women are not supposed to preach. But I can promise you, you'll get a word from our pastor better than some of the men that be up there. But that's because God, I'm telling you, God be really working with her. And it's like I told Nehemiah, we take the word that we get here for granted. We get taught. We just had an awesome word Sunday.
Jesus.
And what do we do with it? We didn't do nothing with it. So we take it for granted, and we get taught really well. Go ahead.
I was just, I was looking at that first verse that you read. It said, "Oh God, thou art my God." Then it said, "Early will I seek thee." That's so amazing, hearing what you say, and to really put what David is saying before us in perspective, where he said, "Early will I seek thee." Mm-hmm. Most of us ride up early, but we don't seek God early because, like you said, we get distracted so easy, and we get off track. And to see this, to hear David say, "You are my God, and early will I seek thee." He already claimed God as being the owner of him in a sense. But then how do you seek him when you already got him? And to hear that means I will walk careful when I ride in the morning, because to have God and to hear him say, "Early will I seek thee," you ain't gonna get distracted too quick, because your mindset is pleasing God. Because if I'm seeking God early, I might meet him in you, and you might be opposing me, but it may be what God put before me. This is amazing to me to hear him say that, because my priority should be to seek God.
Yep.
And to seek him is kind of like, to me, on your job, if you got a job, when you get there, you expect to do your work, your job, And to seek God, to have him, but seek him, I don't plan to be distracted. I plan to be in place with God, because when I meet God, it may be a kid, it might be my boss. You know what I'm saying? It may be God coming in a disguise. But since I'm seeking God, I'm seeking opportunity to please him. This is amazing to me. And that means tune yourself up. When you get up, tune up. And when you tuning yourself up, you're tuning yourself up to display God. Because you don't know what opportunity God is going to put before you. And you meet God. And sometimes don't even realize that you met God. Because God gave you an opportunity to display him in place. And he presented himself before you, that was kind of like David said, "Thou prepared the table before me in the presence of my enemy." That's amazing. It's kind of deep, crazy, but it's something here, because that's "Early will I seek thee, my soul thirsts for thee, my flesh longing." Y'all, that's a place to be. That is a place. God, I got you, because he already say you my God. I have you. So when I wake up, I'm looking for you, but I have you. So I'm not looking for the God that owned me. I'm looking for the God, the same God, but I'm not looking for him to come as my owner. He may come as my opposition in somebody else. But I still gotta be in place to please God. We don't know where we're gonna see him, how we gonna see him. You know, sometimes I go to Walmart, and I always go through that little way, well, a lot of times I go through that little way by the Salvation Army. And there's so many homeless people there. And y'all, sometimes they just be walking in the street. That will almost make you angry. But then you have to think, where are those people, man? Why are they out here? You know? And a lot of times, if we don't watch ourselves, we'll be saying, they ain't gotta be out here. They can go to work. They may not be able,
That's true.
you know, mentally to hold a job. Y'all, there's so much. There's so many ways. Woo, this baby said early. Woo, Jesus.
Even just mentally with them, it makes a difference, because I was watching a documentary the other day, and this guy, he was like going and asking homeless people certain questions, and there was this one guy, like he literally just broke down, because he said, like, this is, attire-wise, this is all I have.
Wow.
And he was like, I go, he said, nobody knows what it feels like for me to stand around and shake a cup all day long. And he said, I'll have people that'll walk past me on the walkway, and they'll say, oh, well, you just wanna be a bum. Why don't you go and get a job? And he said, they don't know what I'm actually doing behind the scenes. He said, I get up every morning and I go and apply for jobs. He said, and nobody knows what I feel like in the inside when they say, well, I'll call you back, and I know I don't even have a phone for them to call me off of.
Wow.
He was like, everybody that you see that's homeless, it's not that they wanna be in that predicament, they just don't have anybody that's even willing to give them a chance.
They had a segment on the TV today. This truck driver, he had driven trucks for 30 years.
Wow.
His health failed him.
Wow.
And when you drive trucks for company, and when you drive truck for yourself now, you have to have physical. And your blood pressure and stuff like that gotta be in alignment with the job. He fell in bad health, lost everything, and became homeless. They had him on TV today. And I think he said, I wanna work, I'm seeking, you know. But his health failed him. He couldn't drive trucks no more. That was his livelihood. Y'all, I'm telling you, this is powerful. It said, early will I seek you. It brings tears to my eyes. Cause it put you in a different mindset about where we should be with God.
Yeah.
Where we should be with God.
And see, we're gonna go to the next scripture that I have. Like I like to get a lot of Bible verses because I like to read. I like to read the word. So we're gonna go to John 14, and we're gonna read verse 1 through 23. And this is when Jesus was telling everybody he's the way, the truth, and the life. We'll start at verse 1. It says, let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go ye know, and the way ye know. Thomas said unto him, Lord, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? Jesus said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. If ye had known me, ye should have known my Father also. And from henceforth ye know him, and have seen him. Philip said unto him, Lord, show us the Father, and it sufficed us. Jesus said unto him, Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. And how sayest thou then, show us the Father? Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me. He doeth the works. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also. And greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. If ye love me, keep my commandments. And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him. But ye know him, for he dwelleth with you, and shall be in you. I will not leave you comfortless, I will come to you. Yet a little while, and the world seeth me no more. But ye see me, because I live, ye shall live also. At that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and ye in me, and I in you. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me, and he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father. And I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. Judas said unto him, not Iscariot, Lord, how is it that thou wilt manifest thyself unto us, and not unto the world? Jesus answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him. And we will come unto him and make our abode with him. And I like to talk about, I was at work, and they did some baptisms yesterday while I was there, and I had to go and sit with them, because we don't let the inmates sit with the preachers by themselves. And I was sitting there, and one thing that stuck with me, that the preacher told both of them the same thing. He said, you know, if you have to go out and tell people I'm a Christian,
Okay.
then what kind of Christian are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, because when you live the life of Christianity, people should already know that you're a Christian. He said, so when you go around and tell everybody, I'm a Christian, I'm just letting you know it. He said, are you really a Christian? That's what you should ask yourself. And that stuck with me, because you'll be surprised at the people that come to you and say, you know, I go to church, I'm a Christian, but their lives show another thing. So it stuck. I was like, because you know, I just be listening to them. I don't really be. I have a job. I have to watch them. I don't be really paying attention. But when he said that just stuck. I was like, that's crazy. One thing that God spoke to me, he was like, you know, and I've seen it here. We begin things and we don't finish them. There's been a lot of things that, you know, I've seen started that don't finish. I mean, it'll work maybe 1 or 2 years. Then after that, it pretty much it really started fading within the first year. And it's like Pastor Walker said, like, you know, we try to prepare, like the lady that you speaking about, you know, try to prepare for the future, but you still ain't completed the present. So, and then you get distracted, and you tend to lose that sight of what you planned on doing in the first place. And so, like I was telling them, me and my brother was talking about, you know, those guys that come to them baptism, when he was speaking to me, he was like, you know, when COVID hit, you know, we had to take a pause because they wouldn't let us in the jail, because of COVID. But they never, I mean, he said we asked every week, you know, can we do a baptism? Can we do a baptism? And they, I mean, it's just that was protocol that, you know, you couldn't let them in because of COVID. But he said once COVID ended, he said we baptized over 50 people, you know, in this little tub, and it's a little small tub, but I was shocked because it was something. I was like, you know, you'll be surprised at how many people have started doing those ministries, and people look forward to them coming back. But just by let's say when COVID came, let's say how many people was doing that and just stopped after COVID came. It hurts people, but you hurt people because you start something and they are building that connection, and you just walk away from them, and that makes them wonder, like, how can you say, you know, you gonna be here forever and you just walk away. And one thing that I thought about, I remember when Brother Willie, he used to go to, when he became a law enforcement officer, he used to go to Biloxi, and he used to train. He used to go to train when he used to have to train. Can somebody tell me why they kept, even though he made it through the part, he was a academy? Did you go to the academy? Yeah. He made it through the academy. So why did he have to train? Why did he have to constantly stay training? Does anybody have an answer?
Why did he have to constantly?
He made it through the academy. He had already passed his training, the basic training that he needed. So why did they keep calling him back to state to go back to training every year?
Yeah, every year. Just go to the slogan. Make sure he's up to date and stuff too.
Well, cause he's still a policeman too. You gotta please him.
But there's a reason that they keep police officers going to training. After so long, after doing the job, you get comfortable. I know when I was in the Howard Patrol class, they kept telling us, maintain your bearings. Anybody know what maintain your bearings means? Maintain your bearings.
The people that.
It's just a saying that they say, no matter what you did, no matter what happened, that anytime you walk by, maintain your bearings.
Your weight, your mind, all of it. Stay alert.
Stay alert. Maintain your training. No matter what you do, no matter what happened, always revert back to your training.
Okay.
And that's why they keep you trained, because if you get to, how many people have had a job and has done it for so long they got comfortable doing it?
Yeah.
And they started finding little small ways to get the job done quicker, but it wasn't the safest way to do it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So when you do that, let's say you used to get hurt by doing that unsafely. What are you gonna tell your boss when they come ask you, how did you get hurt? The first thing they're gonna say is, did we train you how to do that?
Wow.
Did we teach you? Is that what we taught you when you came and done your training? Is that what you was taught? I know when I worked for Walmart, I used to work in automotive, and they taught us when you do oil change, you always put the oil plug back in and you torque it. We had a couple of guys that had got accustomed to stop torquing the oil plug.
What are you doing when you talk?
You making sure it's tight. So the reason why they made you torque it, to make sure it was that the new oil that you were putting in was sealed in the vehicle and it wasn't going nowhere. If that plug was to come out, you lose every bit of oil. Well, we had got a couple of guys that had got accustomed to stop torquing the vehicle. And so when those vehicles would come back, let's say because I mean, you usually get an oil change about every 3 months. I know I get mine about every 3 months. So you usually get an oil change around every 3 months. After so long, if you don't torque that oil plug, or if you over torque it, you gonna wear it out. And so then you stuck with a oil plug stuck in a vehicle that you gotta try to pull out. If you pull that oil plug out too hard, so either way it go, it's a lose situation. Because if you pull that plug out too hard, you're gonna strip the oil pan. Even if you pull it out too hard, you're gonna tear up the plug. In Walmart we had the plugs to replace it. We didn't have the tools to replace the oil pan. So that's why even in law enforcement, in any job you do, you're always supposed to revert back to your training. Because at the end of the day, I can say, well, I know how to do this. I know a quicker way to do this than what they want us to do. But is that quick way always the safest way?
Okay, yeah.
So that's what it brought up. When law enforcement officers get out of the academy, yes, you passed your basic training. Yes, you went through and I brought up James a little bit ago, because even though he has passed his training, he's still gonna have to report back for training. And they may be like, why am I reporting back? It may not make sense to them now, but when they are fighting that person, or if they're like law enforcement officers, Lord forbid, but if Brother Willie was to have to fight somebody on the side of the road, first thing he's gonna do is revert back to his training that he was taught.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, he's gonna go home. So I hate bringing this up, but we let our guard down, and so when I went back and in the Howard Patrol class, they show you officer involved shootings throughout the class. So you watch those shootings, and one of the shootings we watched was out of Florida. There was a deputy that walked up to the car, and the guy was being his friend. He was being cool, and they were laughing and talking. And guy had a baby in the car sitting there, and he was like, "You got kids?" "Yeah, I got kids too." And just like that, the whole situation flipped. Because when he opened it, he told him, "Hey man, come on, step out and talk to me." Dude, he had a machine gun in the door. And when he opened it, he had let his guard down because he was leaning on. When you in the house, when you in training, when you in law enforcement, they tell you never lean into the vehicle, because if they take off, your human instincts is to hold on for dear life, but you can end up being killed holding on for dear life. So that's why they always tell you stay. There's a certain way that they tell you to stand at the vehicle when you are on a traffic stop. There's a reason why they tell you to stand that way. And I took that into the church realm. How many times are we being taught the right way? We being taught. We getting taught. Our co-pastor, our pastor get up and they teach us every Sunday. Basically, just like our training, we get taught everything every Sunday, but when we get sideswiped one time, we lose that. We go back into our flesh mindset instead of seeing it in the spirit. Let's say let's say you doing good in life, and one small thing happened. Let's say you used to lose your house. You don't see it in the spirit. Where down the road, God got something planned for you, but the first thing you want to do is when you leave, oh God, I just give up. I can't do it. I done tried, and I can't. But you don't see, you're not seeing in the spirit. What he got down the road may be 10 times better than what you living in before. And so that's one thing that stuck with me. Hold on, let's get to the back. So when when there are, and I like I said, and God, he spoke to me on when he spoke to me about the church, but he put it in military terms, or in law enforcement terms. When you go into basic training and you complete basic training, let's say you are to go and to be a sniper. Once you pass basic training, you go to a separate training, just for that whatever field you're going into, you go back into that training. There's a reason why they have trainings for different tasks. Let's say let's go to the scripture first, because there's a reason why I'm going to talk about that. Let's go to.
Bro, before you go there, can I say something about the one you just read with what you're saying? Because to me it is impressive. Because Jesus, you know, when he was talking to his disciples, he was fixing to leave. He had been with them all the time. And you're talking about training. I know he had showed them enough, you know, for them to see his walk and understand who he was. But when he get ready to go, he was telling them, I gotta go. And he said, verse 6 said, and whether I go ye know, and the way ye know. Well, kind of like you're saying, it's like Jesus was saying, you ought to know me by now, you know. But Thomas asked him, he said, Lord, we don't know where you're going, and we don't know how you're going to get there. And how can we know the way? In other words, when Thomas said unto him, Lord, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? And Jesus said that he was the way, but it was something impressive here, like you were saying about that training. It should stay with you, and it should be the fundamentals and your foundation for everything. Jesus said to them, he said, you can't get to the Father unless you come by me. And they said, you know, they kept asking the question, but Jesus said, I am, the Father's in me. I'm in the Father, and the Father's in me. So when you see me, you see the Father. And like whatever you saying, whatever the training is, we represent. Whatever them trained us. And we don't supposed to come out of that. Like you talking about the military and the policemen and stuff, which is pretty much the same. They go through routine. But they don't ever supposed to come out of that. And this is, to me, is what Jesus is saying here. He said, when you see me, you see the Father. He said, because the Father's in me and I'm in the Father. But he go on to say to the people, to them, he said, I'm in you. And it made me think, as Christians, when people see us, they ought to see God.
Yeah.
You know, because he is in us. When people train you, their training is in you. And you represent whatever the company is, you represent whatever, you know, the organization or whatever. But that was powerful to me, because Jesus said, when you see me, you see the Father. We scared to say that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, because I'm in the Father and the Father's in me. But then he turned around and tell them, I'm in you. But we're afraid to say, when you see me, you see Jesus. Why? Because Jesus was flesh and spirit, and he was our example. But we shy away from that. And like you said, what you call that?
Maintain your bearing.
We need to maintain our bearing. We really do, y'all. Because I think that's what we don't do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you was talking about the distractions that come. And for some odd reason, we think it's all right to not maintain our bearing when it comes to our walk with God. But Jesus told him, he said, when you see me, you see the Father. And then he turned around and told me, he said, I'm in you. He said, so whatever you ask, I'll give it to you. This is powerful to me, because to me it's taking us a place where we can get a lot of spiritual goods, y'all. And we always wonder why we don't have them. I don't think we maintain our barrier. When the devil come up against us, we forget who is in us and who we represent. You know, sometimes I listen, I be, you know, sometimes in just general talking, because the little girl that worked with me, she, you know, she's real Christian-like. And she sing and she talk about the church, and then she'll talk about how she don't go much, you know, since COVID and stuff and all that stuff. But she'll get talking and she just curse.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You know what I'm saying? Maintaining your barriers is different. You know? And I think sometimes we forget how important it is to take, if we get trained, this training and let it be a part of us, because we are at warfare. We're at warfare with our flesh, and we're at warfare with flesh, period. Because when you go before people, they will nitpick you. You know, because it's a battle. And it's I think it was Jesus teaching when he said that the flesh envied against the spirit, and the spirit envied against the flesh. Well, we know that. That's part of our training. It's already said. So it's, to me, it's so powerful, because we are learning that we have access to God collectively. And we can allow him to rule in our life the way we let him rule in our life when we need something. We get in a whole different mindset and mode when we need something. But we leave that place when we get it. We get up, you know, and sometimes forget we even been there. And when something else happens, it'll catch us by surprise. Like we done forgot that, as the old folks say, he hoped us the first.
Okay.
This is a place to be with God. And his training should be better than any training we get. Because this is foundation.
And I was going, I got caught with Job later on. But Job is really where I meant to go before I went to the training. Because we're going to go to Job 1 and 21 through 22, and then we'll go to chapter 2 in Job as well.
Job what?
Job chapter 1 and verse 21. And it's saying, and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. Tither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Then you go to chapter 2, and it says, again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan also among them to present himself before the Lord. Let's stop right there. Lord, now, this was the sons of God came to present themselves, and Satan felt like he was so comfortable to walk up and present himself. That's why I say, and like I said earlier, we got to stop giving the devil so much credit. Because what we don't realize is he still got to answer to God at the end of the day. So we'll go to verse 2. And the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, who that feared God and escheweth evil? and still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin, yeah, all that a man have will he give for his life. So basically the devil was saying, I think I can turn him against you.
Yeah.
I think I can make him lose his bearings. If I tamper with him just a little bit, I think I can make him lose those bearings. And it says, but put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. Basically, God was saying, I want you to, I'm gonna give you a challenge. I'm gonna let you, because the devil can't do it. He gonna let him do it. He gave him permission. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore blows from the sole of his foot unto his crown. And he took him a poster to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. And this is why I say it's important of who you have around you. Because if you have somebody like Job's wife, the first thing you're going to do is, well, you right. Because this is what she said. Then said his wife unto him, Doest thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh.
Okay.
What shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Jacob sin with his lips. That's why I meant to go, but we was getting ready to leave, and it had hit me later on. And I was like, let me add that in there. But I meant to go there before I went to maintain your bearing. Not one time, no matter what the devil did, not one time did Job curse God.
Jesus.
Because he maintained his bearings. No, when the devil came, but like my auntie told my brother, we got to be careful at the credit we give the devil, because the devil he can't really mess with us unless he get permission.
That's right.
From God. So he has to go to God and ask God first. Hey, can I let me poke at that one really quick. And God he expecting you to maintain your bearings, but we lose it. That's what I was saying. The second something happened, the second your life get cut off and you didn't have the money to pay your bill. Well, I should have something told me not to pay my tithes because my light bill was due, and you lose it.
Yeah.
And mentally and physically, we lose it. But Job, and I'm gonna come back later on, probably at another lesson with Job, because Job really he showed you the lifestyle. Because like Pastor said, we get tried every day. Yeah. But no matter what Job went through, Job kept his bearings. He didn't let the devil because the devil challenged. He basically challenged God. I'm gonna pick at him. I'm gonna see. And God was like, okay, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna let you mess with him. You can't kill him, but I'm gonna let you mess with him. So that's why I always say. That's why I was saying, we gotta maintain our bearings. When I was, I like to bring up this example. When I was in the highway patrol class, we was taught always, and my mama hated it because I walk. How I walk is how they taught you when you was in the class. Walk with your head up, and you gotta walk confident. So when I'm walking across the house, you can hear me stomping across the whole house because that's just how I was taught. So even at work, I'm the same way. You can hear me stomping. I'm walking. Anywhere I go, I'm walking. And they're like, why do you do that? And it's not that's what when I was trained, it's that maintaining it.
Yeah.
So when you walk, because they tell you walk with your head up, don't ever put your head down, because that shows the sign of defeat. So you always need to walk, and as Christians, we should always walk with our head up.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people walk in and they'll walk in church, they have their head down. Look, even if you're having a bad day, your head still needs to be up.
That's right.
Because when you put your head down, you tell them, all right, you didn't beat me. You done got me. I done let you beat me. You don't do that. Just walk with your head up, confident, and they in the Howard Church they teach you when you speak loud. You don't never speak quiet. And when Mary get back, he gonna be the same way. Cause when they go through those trainings, you gotta be loud the whole time. And even when you working out, when you in PT training, which is physical training, they tell you, you may be like, they want you to yell and you tired. Like they want you to scream when you doing stuff. Like if we doing a workout, let's say we doing jump jack, the next workout be the jump jack. Sir, the jumping jack, sir. The reason why they got you screaming is so you can breathe. And people don't understand that because you be so tired, you get distracted because you just your body is tired. I ain't got nothing else left in me. But you'll be surprised at what that little yell will give you. That what that loud, that confident voice will give you. So that's maintaining. That's one thing about maintaining your bearings. But like the example, I was in the class and I didn't have a class in college. It was just me by myself, and I didn't have a in-session class. I always had my online classes, so I did my work in the instructor's office, and I came back and we go to class. And one of the administrators came in from the school, and I had got comfortable. I had lost my bearings. And so I was sitting there, and me and him was talking about, he was showing me some trash stuff that he was on, and I had got comfortable with him, and I had got comfortable with her, and she came in. They always tell you, no matter who it is, I don't care. And one of the guys at work, they said, you always tell the inmates, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. Why? Well, when you're in that class, they tell you, you don't never say yeah to anybody. You never say no to anybody. So you show respect to everybody. So I had got comfortable, and I was sitting back in the chair, and she was asking me about the class, how I liked it. I was like, it's fun. I mean, you get to be around state troopers, and you enjoying it. And she asked me something, and I said, yeah. I didn't think no more about it. He didn't, but he heard it, but I didn't think no more about it. We went on about the day because he didn't say nothing to me. He didn't say, he don't correct you. He ain't gonna correct you. He let me make my mistake. Well, we got to PT the next morning, and we was all ready. We got there. It was 5. We started at 5:30. That's when we started every morning, and we standing in line in our lines, and we done our spacing. And he said, "Guys, I just want to talk to y'all for a minute." And I was like, "Oh, what?" I'm like, "Okay, well, he ain't on nothing. He just gonna tell us because we supposed to be going on a trip." So I'm like, "Well, maybe he gonna talk to us about the trip." And he said, "We was sitting in my office yesterday, and one of my court candidates told an administrator, yeah." And I was like, "Oh no." I already knew what was coming because they tell you when you first maintain your bearing. And so he said, so since they want to say yeah to an administrator, we gonna do up down. We done up down 15 minutes. And then he was like, you'll have to say yes sir, no sir. So we saying yes sir, no sir. He's like, so are y'all gonna say yeah to another administrator? I don't think anybody in our class, even if they left, they never said no to anybody. Or no, even I had to catch myself because I even said to catch myself in the midst of saying it to somebody my age. And I'm like, I still gotta maintain, but you still gotta maintain your bearing. So when you get out of that training mindset, you never leave your training mindset, especially while you're in training, because you get sideswiped. That he told me after, he's like, I had her come in because I saw you had got comfortable. He said you had got too comfortable, so I had her come in, and I was gonna see if you were gonna maintain your bearing. There was the whole time we kept saying, we kept doing it down. Maintain your bearing. I don't know how many times I gotta tell you that. And so I had got so comfortable I had got, after that, I ain't never get comfortable again. Because you gotta be, then now, that's watching your back, you know, make sure you ain't, all of that, even though that may be words, you know, you just saying, yeah, you like, that ain't nothing, you know, I'm just saying, yeah, to somebody. But you'll be surprised at what, yeah, you saying, yeah, that, what you saying, yes, sir, maintaining those barriers, that means you watching who coming from behind you. I remember Pastor, she snuck up behind me, well, we was standing at the door. And she didn't know I saw her because they train you in the highway patrol, you can look at the peripheral eye. So I saw her coming behind me, but she didn't know I saw her. And I turned around and she said, you know I was behind you. I don't know, I think I came in from one of the workouts. And I didn't know she was back there, but she walked up. And I heard, and I turned around and she said, you know I was back there. I said, I heard you the whole time. I just never turned around. Because they train you in that you don't look. You ain't gonna turn around and watch it. You look out of your peripheral eye.
Well, let me ask you a question. What is wrong? Is the teaching, you know, as far as what we are doing in the church, the teaching and the preaching, is it off? Or what is wrong? Why is it that we so easily forget or don't maintain wear what we carried so lightly? You know, just like you said, the lady, the man and the lady was in there, but you had got comfortable. But they brought you back to your rightful place, and you received that. And now you're using extra precautions when they're around. We don't. What's wrong with us as Christians? You know what I'm saying? What is wrong? What is wrong?
We lose those bearings.
But why?
Because
saying.
that's that lack of preparation. You know, like I said, I like to read, so I can get in the Bible. I can read all day, and when I'm reading, God talking to me, and I'm writing. Then I'm like, hold on, let me go back and read again. But studying, you know, being prepared, because like Pastor said, you be sidetracked at any moment, and I put that in my lesson about the teaching. It's not the teaching that's messing us, it's us that's messing us up. Because we can't get up. When you get to heaven, you can't blame your leader. If your leader is teaching you, don't get that, well, my leader didn't tell me that. No, you, basically, you study your own self. But what we supposed to do is, when we come to the church, we supposed to have questions for the leader. We supposed to ask her, hey, I read this and I didn't get an understanding. Can you break it down for me more? And trust me, she will. I've been plenty of times. I'm asking, she'll break it down for you. Her or co-pastor, you can go to them, but we lose that. Once we come on Sunday morning, that's all we have. I'm gonna go to church, and after I go to church, I'm gonna go home. I go get something to eat. You'll be surprised at the people that didn't go to church this way. You can speak to the fast food lady, and we had a good time in service. Let me tell you what our pastor talked about. That's ministry.
Like, for instance, you work at the jail, right? Once you get in there, you in some type of uniform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that. Once you get in there, you don't know what you're gonna be confronted with, especially the inmates and stuff, and what they gonna say and how. But you still gotta maintain.
Gotta maintain it.
This is good. It's really good because you don't ever say, I'm fixing to pull this uniform off for a minute, you know, cause I'm fixing to whoop your tail. You don't tell on people that, because you know who you are, and you know what and who you represent. But us,
we pull that uniform off.
Anytime.
Cause I like when you said that about when I get to work. Cause when I get there, I don't know like let's say I'm off for the weekend. I don't know what I'm coming back to. I'm glad you mentioned that because we came back this week because this is we work the full, we only off 2 days and then we go back to full week. So we work 4 days and we off 2 and then, so it's swap. But I'm glad she said that because we came back this week and a guy had walked up to me while I was in the hallway. And I mean, you can go I go in the pods by myself all the time, but they always tell you never let the inmates get behind you because you don't know what they could have planned, when you go in. So, and every morning we do head count. We have to go in, I have to go into the pod and I have to count. And I keep a flashlight with me. So I go in and I count every inmate that's in there. And I have to make sure they still breathing, that they're alive and they still breathing, they ain't dead. And so I walked in one pod, I never lost my training. Walked in, counted, and one of the inmates came out. And he said, well, I didn't watch him leave out. I was going upstairs to count, and he snuck out the door. Well, because I leave it propped, because I don't, if it's something that happens, I'll have to call over and get them to come over and help out. But they always tell you leave the outside door shut. I closed the outside door, but the inside door was propped. So he thought, well, I done got out. I can sneak out while he upstairs. So I heard him beating on the door. I turned around, and they know me. I don't play. I'm not through. I come to work. I'm cool, but at the same time, I'm watching for myself as well. So I said, first, I just looked at him at first because I'm watching him and I'm laughing. I laugh at him. I laugh when they try to trick you. So I'm laughing, and I said, where you going? He's like, well, I was gonna go out in the hallway and get some water. So I said, okay, well, I let him out to get water. I said, next time ask, so I know if you walk behind me or if you walk out, I know where you're going. Well, this one inmate that walked out, he told me, when I came out eventually, he said he felt like his life was in danger in the pod. So at that point, I got alarmed because I didn't know what was in the pod. I knew I had walked in there, but I didn't see anything out in my physical eye. I couldn't see nothing right then. So I moved him down, and he was so scared, and he was like, I'm not going back in there. And I said, yeah, you're gonna have to go back in. You can't stay out here with me. So he get back in, and we pull him out and move him down to what we call holding cell. Well, not a holding cell, a lockdown. Well, we call it the hold, but that's when we moved him down to the hold. And he sat there, and about 5 minutes later, I walked in, and when they're in the hole, you have to check on them every 5 minutes. You have to go in and just look, make sure they ain't got nothing. I walk in, and I see him playing with something in his hand. I said, hey, open 180. And he had a shank.
What?
In his hand on the bed. He just playing with it. And so I called for other officers to come in, and I said, where you get it from? Well, he wouldn't tell me. So I grabbed it, took him into another where it's another place that it's a hole, but it's in the booking area where we can keep our eye on him. Like we got a camera in there and all. So I pushed him in there, and then I went upstairs and I said, okay, we found the shank. Where you get it from? And they said, well, he came up here with 3, and we only found 1. So at that point, then you watching your back, especially because you scared. Well, you can't show them that you scared, because if you show them you scared, they already that maintain your bearings. All of that comes from maintaining your bearings, keeping your head up, not putting your head down. When you put your head down, you look defeated already. So when you walk in there with your head down, you already look defeated. So I always walk my head up, and I'm speaking to them. I'm speaking loud. I'm not talking to you like a little. I'm not talking to you like this. I'm gonna be loud. So I said, all right, I'm gonna ask y'all, where is the shank? And one of the guys said, we only got one more. I said, but he came up here with three. Because one of the guys came out of the pod, he told me he came up here with three. So we done a shakedown. We take everything when we do a shakedown. I mean, we come in and we just strip everything you got. Your bed, you don't get nothing. And we found it eventually. They had it in the light fixture. And the dude, well, we knew there was, but that's why I say you gotta maintain your training. You should always keep every door shut in your pods. Well, there was some argument going on between the pods, and the pods, they're like right here by each other, so they were sitting there arguing with each other. We didn't know why. This guy ain't never about this tall. One guy is, and this other guy is big, and he like big out here, and the small guy was ready to fight him. We didn't know why, but I thought about it, and I said, you know, he could have used it. He could have been ready to fight because he got a shank. You know, if I got a weapon that I can defeat the bigger guy with, of course I'm gonna. But I wouldn't. But of course, if you got a weapon and you got a bigger guy coming after you, of course you're gonna use it. Well, eventually, I mean, we went and took everything from him. But that's why I say you gotta, like when Pastor say, when I go to work, you have to maintain that barrier. You have to make sure, no matter where you go, that training has to stay. That you got, keep all that small stuff like keeping your door shut, making sure only one person out in the hallway. All of that makes, like when I called Pastor, I think that was the other day, Sunday, when I called you, you had preached, and I wasn't here last Sunday, and Sunday before last, I wasn't here, and we had a fight that day. And I had called Pastor. And only reason why we had that fight is because one of the guys, one of the COs didn't shut the door. And when we let them cut people's hair, we let them, they get that out, they get that right. I mean, that's one thing that we do. He was cutting the guy's hair, and I didn't know, I was the only one upstairs, I didn't know that the door was open. Because I didn't check it behind him, because, you know, you're supposed to trust everybody else. So I trusted him to have the door shut. So when he said he was stepping downstairs, I was like, okay, cool. I mean, I'm the only one up here, but everything's shut. The door, well, he came out. The guy that got a haircut that came out. And he was, I said, go ahead and do what y'all got to do because, you know, there's only one person supposed to be in the hallway. And another guy had came out of another pod and had said he wanted some water. I didn't know why. The inmates knew why he was gonna get out and get water because they had already started talking to each other. That's one thing about working in jail. The inmates gonna talk to each other. You ain't gonna know nothing. It's you against them, basically. So when he came out, I heard, you know, you need to keep my name out your mouth. You know, I'm sitting there like, that's all I could do because I thought that the haircut room was closed. So I'm sitting there like, I just knew they were gonna argue. So they got about 2 feet from each other, and they start fighting. But that's beside the point. That's losing your training that you received. Keep your doors shut. That's one thing that they always train you. If you lose that's why I always say, you know, when in the Bible, well, in the churches. We gotta keep that training. You gotta maintain that barrier because even in the real world, maintaining your training gonna help you at the end of the day. It'll help you succeed. It may take you a little longer at work to do the job they asking you to do with the training that they have, but it's the safest way. And I know the kids just came in. Another thing that we talked about is. But at this point, me and them had started speaking to each other. Then we was getting our lesson together. And he said we want to teach together, but we'll talk about that. In the military, when they train snipers, when they train you to be a sniper, you have to be in that training for so long. Because when you go to become a sniper, you may sit in one sniper position for days. You may be in that position for days. And you have to keep your eyes on that one target for days. And people be like, you know, I don't understand, you know, why, that you may not understand why that sniper is sitting there. But, let's put it like this, the civilian, because that's what they call you, it's the military, and the civilian may not understand why that sniper is sitting in that one spot, keeping his eyes on that one door. Even if he has to use the restroom, he can't use the restroom. You stuck right there. The reason why you have to stay there is because if you expose your position, you gonna let the enemy know where that position is. So
Wow.
guess what? If they say, okay, I'm gonna switch positions with this, I want you to switch with this guy, you can expose your enemy for the next man. You can expose your position for the next man, so when the next man come up, you can set him up for failure. That's why I was saying, you know, we gotta maintain our training. That sniper may sit there for weeks before they even make a decision of what they're gonna do. And that's how they're trained. In their mind, they're trained. And that's why, you know, they can sit in spots for so long, they can sit there and they don't have to do nothing. They can just sit there. But that's their training. Because like I said, when you go through basic, you get the basic knowledge. But when you go through a different training, like when you go through sniper training, they get a different training than maybe if I'm going for military police, I'll get a different training. So that's another thing that we talked about. I'm trying to be quick. I'm trying to be quick because we got the kids in here, but I'm gonna still teach now. I'm still teach, but I'm gonna be quick in my teaching. Y'all get what I'm saying? Stop looking back there, man. So basically, another thing that we talked about, a lot of problem with us in the church is when you maintain your position with what you got, they give you a pack when you go as a sniper. You get a little small pack, but that's the basic ground pack that you have. It's called a ground pack. It's another name for it. We call it ground pack. It only has the basic. It only carries your basic medical needs.
What you need.
So it's basically what Sister Elizabeth said. The only thing that's in that pack is what you need at that time, if something was to happen. The problem with us is we try to get too quick and we want the extended resources, but God is only giving us the basic material to do. He's giving us the basic material, but we try to be too quick because we want the extended medical material. We move too quickly forward. And if a sniper is sitting at a position for so long, they purpose at that time, they may be to have to take somebody out. They may be watching that house just to arrest that person, or they may just be trying to make sure that person is not setting up something to attack them. But the problem is what happens is we get stuck while watching that we forget if, let's say our assignment is, like Pastor said, let's say Pastor give us an assignment. You are to be at that door. You are to usher at that door. What happens is we get stuck. We'll stay at that door, but then let's say somebody else come and say, hey, I need you back here at the food real quick. We ain't got nobody back here. The first thing we do is we forget what was given to us by our leader is to stand at the door. But when somebody else comes and sideswipe us, oh well, they need us at the table. You don't know what she asked you to stand at that door for. Somebody could be coming through the door that she didn't want to come through the door. It could have been a surprise party that she had set up for them not to come through the door. But if you leave and you say, hey, baby, hey, you just stand right there. You tell somebody else stand right there. They ain't gonna know why she wanted you standing right there. So if that person come through, you defeated the mission that was given to you. So basically, like a video game, say mission failed, and you don't get a retry on their mission. So, but that I really had more, but that's all I got. That's all I got for tonight. Cause I know we have kids have to get to school, so we'll end it right there. Y'all, Chief, do the kids got anything?
Tonight, we finished watching our movie, and I let them watch that movie for a reason. Because in the movie, what was the name of the movie, class?
Encanto.
Okay, and what was, why did we watch that movie? What did I say?
To make you not feel so don't feel left out.
Well, because everybody in that movie, we learned that we all have a purpose, right? And in the movie, one of the characters was always kind of upset because her gift hadn't come through yet. Everybody in the house, when they got a certain age, they got a gift. But she was old when she got her gift. But because she was old before her gift came, she was always impatient trying to find her gift. And these kids, I'm teaching them to learn to wait on their gift. Because everybody, with a gift, everybody has a purpose.
That's right.
So, the movie kind of highlighted on that, and it also highlighted on one of, them being an outcast in the family, because the family didn't